come to global parameters. So under the global parameters, I don't have any, so I'm going to create, first of all, I'll create a window, and I'll use the discipline as common, the type of parameter as length, and also group parameter under the dimension, and I'll do OK. Hello everyone, I always welcome you to the course. My name is Jan Sasu Emmanuel, and the name of my channel is Infinity Build Consult. Please subscribe for update videos. Welcome to Infinity Build Consult. On this episode of our tutorials, we are going to learn about what is global parameters. So let me take you into the slides we have for you today. So we are going to find out what is the definition of a parameters, the types of parameters, the functions of what a parameters, and also how to use parameters in Revit. So on this episode, we are going to learn about the definition of a parameters, types of a parameters, functions of a parameters, how to use parameters in Revit. So what is the definition of a parameters? So in Revit, we have something we call parameters, but in the form of parameters, we have something we call parametrics. So let's learn about the definition of what parametrics. So the term parametric refers to what? The relationship among all elements of the model that enables the coordination and the change management that Revit provides. So when you use the parameters, it coordinates what the change and manage element in Revit. So we also have what the main focus today, which is the parameters, are used to show and control elements and information and properties as well. So let's take it again. Parameters are used to show and control an element's information and properties. So we move on to our next slide. Here it talks about the types of parameters. So in Revit, we have three types of parameters. We have the project parameters, we have the global parameter, and we have the share parameter. So on our tutorials today, we are going to focus on the global parameter. So let's move on to the next slide. So this is our next slide, which is the function, the global parameter. Let's look at the function. Specified parameter that can add to a project and used to define values to other parameters. So a global parameter specified what? An added project used to define values in other parameters. So without wasting my time, let's see how the global parameters work for you to see how the practical way of global parameters or what we are talking about. You can also give us a comment on the parameters if you don't understand any definition and you understand anything about the parameters. You can also comment at the comment section box so that you help us to learn more. So that's my understanding of global parameters. So let's move on to what our next slide it talks about. So we are going to learn how to use these global parameters in Revit. So what's up guys, welcome to the user interface of Revit. This is where the games begin. This is where all the integration, all drawings, all working are done here. So how do we work on the global parameters? First of all, we are going to just pick a wall here and see how the global parameters help our elements in Revit. So I'm going to pick wall here, and also at the wall I'm going to set my base constraint and my top constraint to level 2. So after that I can draw something, a sketch like this. So after drawing this, I can decide to pick the wall again, provide a certain sketch here. So this is our exterior walls and our interior walls. So we are going to provide our elements such as the window element and also the door element, aside that other elements in our walls. So we have this area which might be our corridor. So in case, let me provide another space here. So in case this area is our corridor in which leads to other rooms. So this is how the global parameter works. I'm first going to put windows inside. So the windows, I'm going to choose a bigger size like this. And also placing certain doors inside. Okay, so after doing this, this is how most of the time we place in, and we leave space between the door and the wall to provide other informations here, or other doors or other tables here. So this is how you can come to your 3D and check what we just did. You can also do the realistic area to see what we are up to. So now, how do we create parameters, or how does the parameters or the global parameters work? So let's move on to that. So I'll come to my manage area and come to global parameters. So under the global parameters, I don't have any, so I'm going to create, first of all, I'll create a window, and I'll use the discipline as common, the type of parameter as length, and also group parameter under the dimension, and I'll do OK. So I'm going to specify the length in which I want to, or the space in which I want to give, which maybe 1.2 will be okay. So I'm going to do a next one, which is called door, and also do 1.5, and I'll do another one and do a corridor or a bedroom. So that's a corridor. I specify my width of my corridor, which is okay. So from here, I'm going to try and give a space between my door, my window, and my wall. So I'm going to give dimension. So let me place this dimension here to the wall, and also place this dimension here to the wall. I can also do same for my door, and also do same for this window here. Okay, so after giving this specific dimension, I think this is a few dimension you can do, or we can do. So you can try it as we work along. So after doing this dimension, this is going to be our corridor, and we have our windows here and our doors here as well. So remember, we created 3 global parameters. So the next thing to do is to select your dimension, the one that is situated for each element, like the window. You select this one, then you come to the label dimension area, then you give it to the window like this. So the moment you change it from the label to a window. Remember, the window global parameters was 1.2. So we are going to get this dimension 1.2 from the wall. So the same also works for the door. So let's select the dimension here like this and give it to the door. So it's also going to change to 1.5. We are also going to work with the corridor area, and it changes from that dimension to this. So I can also increase it here. I can come to my global parameters here, come to the global parameters here and change it to 2 meters and do apply. So this is how the global parameters work. Also, sometimes you might not need these dimensions in your drawing, so you can decide to select the whole element here and you just check none and check dimension, then you just delete. They are going to give you an option on constraint. On constraint means you want to deactivate the dimensions, but we don't want to do that because we want to use this parametrics to help us in our other project or in our template. So we are just going to do OK. So we can't see this dimension here, but immediately I click the wall, let's see if we can get these parameters in our properties. So I'll come to and search for dimension. So you can search it along. I did not find it, but immediately I come back to my manage area and come to the global parameters. I can change this dimension here, which is, let's say, 1.7. Now do apply. You can see it has changed. I can also use this one, the review constraint, and also see my dimensions here. So I hope you've learned something new about the global parameters. So let's go back to what we learned today. So we said we defined the definition of parameters, the types of parameters, the functions of what are parameters, and how to use parameters in Revit. So we said that the term parameters refer to the relationship among all elements of the model that enables the coordinate and change management that Revit provides. So you can see this coordination helps us to change our management of our elements in Revit, and the parameters are used to show and control an element information and properties. I hope you saw that. So when we said we have types of parameters in Revit, we have the project, then the global, and the shared parameters, which we use the global parameters. So when we say the function of a global parameter is to add to a project and use it to provide the values to other parameters. So guys, I hope you've learned something new. Kindly give a comment at the comment section box. If you have any definition on the global parameters, just give it at the comment section box. And you guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.